If you're trying to build or scale your current AI lead generation agency, this video is for you. Let's get right into it. So this is the ultimate guide to start an AI lead generation agency in 2025 and basically to productize your lead generation agency. And this is based on my experience working with hundreds of lead generation agency and also making a lot of systems for them. And so if you don't know me, my name is Rene. I'm the CEO of WinGrowth. I've been consulting hundreds of lead generation agencies in the past 2 years. I'm a coach and consultant and Agency Velocity that teach people on how to build lead generation agencies. And I've built, like I said, 42 plus complete operating system for those lead generation agencies. We're going to talk a little bit about the details of what the operating systems are composed of. I have a lot of case studies on my website working with lead generation agencies. And also I'm a trusted smart lead integration partner. And so most of the things that I'm going to be presenting in this video are 100% doable on Smart Lead and also probably on other platforms like Instantly. So that's not going to be an issue as long as they have a working API, because the key to productize your AI lead generation agency is going to be to have a lot of integrations. And so you need a working API platform basically. So the first step to do this is to go back to the root, define your offer, because a lot of you guys that might be operating in current lead generation agencies are currently offering something that is fundamentally flawed if you're trying to productize your business and therefore scale further. And the reason why you want to use AI is basically to productize your business. It's not to keep the same processes that you're currently doing. That wouldn't really make sense. So to define your offer, we like to use the Alex Hormozy formula here. If you haven't read his book, $100 Million Offer, I usually recommend that you do so. My point is not trying to explain this formula to you though, but it's really simple. My point is more trying to guide you into what you should be doing. And so a lot of you guys, when you start a lead generation agency, are going to try to book meetings directly for your clients, right? And to do this, you're going to use maybe you do pay-per-call, maybe you do a retainer model, maybe you do revenue share model. Those models, I'm not talking specifically about the revenue models, although retainer and revenue share is always preferred. But I'm more talking about the fact that if you're trying to book meetings for your clients, so you're having the entire conversations for your clients, and then you go into your client's calendar and you book the meetings, this is not something that's so easy to productize, and so it's not going to be easy to scale. And there's not that many use cases for AI in that instance. My AI way of doing this, and it's funded basically on what I've seen with the lead generation agencies I'm working for and seeing who scale and who doesn't in my client, it's basically to start selling interested replies instead of book meetings. The reason is simple. You don't have to do a lot of sales back and forth with the prospects themselves. So as soon as someone is interested, you forward that reply to your client or your client's sales team basically, and they are handling the sales for you. And from that moment, you get paid basically, because either you're on a retainer model, so anyway you're already paid, or if you do pay per, let's say, lead, then that would get you your money for that lead, okay? This works best with companies that have already sales team. This works less if your clients are actually the one taking care of the entire sales process by themselves. But when you work with businesses that have an established sales process, you're actually going to convert more of those leads into actual deals. So this is a win-win scenario for you and for your client most of the time. And this allows you to remove a fundamental process that most lead gen agencies are currently doing, which is super time consuming, and this is inbox management, okay? But I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in the video. Once you define your offer and you settle for selling interested replies now instead, the goal is to define your ICP. So who are you selling to? Now, I don't want you to fall into the trap of you're defining something and you're trying to sell that something 100% and you don't diverge from it. I think that's not a good idea to do. What I want to point you toward is what I think is the current untapped market. And so this represents a huge opportunity for you if you're currently watching this video and you decide to follow the steps that I'm giving you. Instead of actually going out there and selling to marketing agencies, which basically everyone does, or like dev agencies or whatever, all the online agencies, they're super saturated. And so the competition is very hard. What I recommend you to do is to explore the local businesses. Now, I know, yes, my previous video talks about not dealing with local businesses, but this is an entirely different type of service. Now, we're not talking about selling automations or AI automations to local businesses. We're actually talking about selling leads to local businesses, which is something they are going to be willing to pay at least a little bit because it gives them a tangible ROI, which they can calculate super fast. So local businesses are a huge untapped market, and from what I've seen from my clients, the clients that do this, they're the one that scaled past 100K per month quite easily, way more easily than if you're trying to sell to marketing agencies. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not easy to do so, but it's going to be more easy than if you're trying to tap into a niche that everyone is trying to sell to, okay? The reason is simple here. If you try, let's say you try to do window cleaners, right? And then you nail the copywriting and you nail the type of lead list that you need to build. You do this for a city, let's say Montreal, and then you're working with a company in Montreal, basically. You're going to be able to reuse the same copy and the same way of finding leads and building lead lists across all the clients that you're going to have. So you're going to be saving a lot of times when you're going to do those fundamental things for every client, because it's always going to be the same thing until it doesn't work anymore. Which you will then iterate and make something better. But then every time you change it, it changes for all your clients. So if you're working with 30 clients and you've been doing a normal way of doing lead generation right now, then you know that every time a campaign stops working, you're trying to do better copywriting and you change the angle and you build new lead lists. It's always different because you're working with a lot of different industries. But when your clients are always the same service, basically, it's going to be the same process and the same thing that you're selling and the same way of selling it, basically, okay? So this is going to be a huge advantage for you. Another thing is the more you scale, this has actually, if you check my pen here, not linear results, but actually this has exponential growth results. The reason is simple here. It's because the more you have clients that do window cleaning, for example, the more you can go for your own lead generation and say, hey, listen, John, I'm working with 20 other companies that do window cleaning, and we're able to get them an average 15 leads per month that are valued at, let's say, 20K. So I can guarantee you that you're going to have the same result. Are you interested or not? And by the way, if you're not interested, I'm going to go see your competitor because there's probably competitors in the same city. So there's selling to businesses, the more you do, in the same market is going to be easier and easier, basically, okay? So local businesses, trust me, are a huge untapped market right now. And what I see from my clients that do this, they have a way easier time of scaling. And when we're going to talk about how to productize this a little bit later in the video with AI, this is going to make it even easier to scale with basically not that many employees. The third thing is you have to define your delivery mechanism. I know that most of you guys are going to be using cold email, and that's perfectly fine. But just be aware that depending on what type of business you're selling for or you're trying to acquire leads for, basically, the mechanism that you're choosing might be different. It might be something like LinkedIn, organic, if you're doing more high production content and you're going for the long game, or Facebook DMs. It really depends on what type of clients you're working for, basically. But let's assume that you're working with cold emails, right? And you're going to be using platforms like Instantly or Smart Leads, which are the only two platforms right now that I recommend using because the APIs are working to integrate, basically, and they're proven platform. What's the AI way of operating this, you might ask? So, whoops, let me change this. A lot of clients that I have right now, they use Clay. And Clay is just a piece of a platform. You can do everything you want and you can automate a lot of things in it. Things like prospecting leads, and so building your own lead list, enriching leads data, creating personalized campaign, and much more. So a lot of clients that started productizing their business are basically using Clay as a one tool that does it all. And so this represents a unique opportunity for you if you nail down your delivery mechanism and who you're selling to basically just use one platform and be able to do your entire delivery process from A to Z with one platform. Clay is a really good platform that most of my clients use now. So there's, it's pretty much self-explanatory why Clay scaled so much in the past year and a half, 2 years. Everyone is using it because it's so good. From there, let's say that you automate your entire processes using Clay and N8N maybe, or make.com for what's not doable inside Clay. You need to set up your output mechanism. And so if you're doing it the AI way, which is what I recommend, here's how this looks like. So you're gonna receive a positive reply on Smart Lead or instantly. And then what you're gonna have here is an AI agent that is basically, and this is important, trained on data. So if you're starting out, this is gonna be a little bit more rough, but training on data is going to be faster if you always sell to the same local market. Okay, the more data or like type of replies that you receive from the same type of prospects, the faster and easier this is going to be here. Okay, so you're going to train the AI agents with the response that you have, and that AI agent is basically what eliminates the entire inbox management part of a lead generation agency, which is a super time consuming role. And if you remove this, your margins are going to grow up exponentially as well. Then the AI agent doesn't reply itself. What it does is it categorizes the response, and then it forwards the positive reply to the client. Because remember, we're not trying to sell meetings book here, or we're not trying to basically engage into the entire conversation to do a sell with a prospect. We're trying to only forward the positive replies to your client. It's what we're currently selling here. Okay, so this makes a huge difference. Then you forward this to your client, and then you get cash for the output that you've been doing. So basically every positive leads that you forward, you're getting cash for it if you're not on the returner model. But if you're on the returner model and then you output a lot of positive replies, then chances are that your lifetime value with that client is going to be higher than if you're not getting any output. Let's have a quick look at how I build this AI agent itself. So you have your Smart Lead or instantly reply, which sends a webhook inside N8N that I recommend using if you're doing this. And then here, the AI agent is going to have basically a categorization layer that, based on the data that you train on, is going to say this is an interested reply, this is a not interested reply. And you can go further with this, like let's say you have information request, let's say you have a demo request or someone that directly wants a meeting, and then you can funnel this information to your client, okay? This here, the second part, is if you wanted to have the AI agent reply, and so actually draft emails, this is basically how we do it. So you need to train the AI on a RAG database, so with all the data that you have with the different type of replies. Based on this, I would use Claude Sonnet to do the writing, because Claude is the best AI right now to do copywriting. And then I would basically reuse, so as a tool, I would reuse either Instantly or Smart Lead, the platform that you received the reply from, to resend an email. So using the API, you can do this quite easily. Or if the prospect wants a meeting directly, then you can use the calendar tool. So super easy, and the AI agent can book the meeting for you, sending the invitation to the prospect. So this is the way I would go about this. Lastly, here are some key components for a lead generation agency that you need to think about. First, if you're trying to build a new agency, you have no experience, then you're probably not going to productize the business right away. You need to learn the fundamentals, and so things like copywriting are going to be super important, but also when we're talking about all the different processes involved, and this arrow is so bad, there you go. All the processes involved into a business like this. So client onboarding, the tech setup, so domain setup, email, the research phase when you have a new client, because you're going to know about what they're doing, their case studies, and who you're selling to. Then how to build a lead list for this client. Like I said, copywriting, this is an important fundamental if you're trying to get people to reply to your email. Then how to set up to campaign. Then lastly, data insights and client reporting. This is often something that I see that business don't do. But if you're trying to productize your business, you need to operate on data and not emotions here. Okay, so how does this look? you're going to have some proper reporting inside your business. So this is one of the things that we have inside the operating system that we sell to lead generation agencies essentially. So a way for my clients to see very quickly if campaigns are performing. This is the formula I have, for example, what I call the efficiency ratio, which basically tell us if a campaign performs well or not. And also client reporting, because obviously you want to have your client know what you're doing for them. If you do this, this is going to increase your LTV, which if you don't know, it's lifetime value, which is super important because keeping your client is way better than trying to acquire a client constantly, and it costs less money to do so. So super important. Then only once you acquire those fundamental and you know what you're doing, you're going to be wanting to templatize your project management. And so that means that once you know all your processes and every steps involved, you're going to create templates and you're going to make SOPs to teach your team members how to do this, and then only you're going to be able to fully automate, optimize processes and implement AI inside this. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You're not going to be productizing your business if you're just starting out. What you want to be focusing on right now if you're just starting out is to get good at what you're doing. But that said, I'm also talking right now to people that are currently operating a lead generation agency and they're trying to implement AI right now. This is the way that we've been doing it for our current clients. If that's something that interests you and you want to do this for your own business and you're not sure how to do it, this is something that we do at my agency that's called Win Growth. Feel free to either book a meeting with me below in the description or send me an email. If you like this video and you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any feedback, send it in the comments. I read everything and I reply to everyone. And also, if you're trying to learn more about AI operations and automations, I also have a free school group with the link in the description that you can join right now. Looking forward to see you there.